The graduation hall was filled with applause, proud smiles, and bright daylight streaming through tall glass windows, but one empty space cut deeper than silence ever could. At the far edge of the front row, a young woman sat motionless in a wheelchair, her graduation cap perfectly placed, her hands folded tightly in her lap, as if holding herself together. While families stood, cheered, and rushed forward with flowers, she remained alone. She was the CEO's daughter, and yet in that moment, power, money, and status meant nothing at all. Before the story unfolds any further, take a moment. If you believe that kindness can change lives and that second chances still exist in this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Life Spark Stories. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Her name was Elena Crossfield, 22 years old, with calm brown eyes that carried a lifetime of disappointment behind them. A car accident 3 years earlier had left her paralyzed from the waist down. Once an athlete, once fearless, she now measured her days by quiet endurance. Her father, Victor Crossfield, was one of the most powerful CEOs in the country, a man who built empires with confidence and control. But when the accident happened, his world cracked. He buried himself in work, convincing himself that providing everything except presence was enough. At the graduation ceremony, Victor was absent again, caught in an emergency board meeting that he deemed unavoidable. Elena told him it was fine, but deep down, the familiar ache returned, sharper than ever under the bright lights of celebration. As graduates were called one by one, Elena wheeled herself forward with practiced strength. The applause was polite but distant. She accepted her diploma with a gentle smile, then turned back toward her seat, surrounded by noise yet painfully invisible. Parents hugged their children. Cameras flashed. Laughter filled the hall. Elena sat still, staring at the stage as if it might offer something more than recognition. She had learned to be strong, but strength did not erase loneliness. In the same hall, several rows back, sat a man named Haroun Malik, a single father in his late 30s with tired eyes and a gentle posture. He wore a simple light blue shirt, neatly pressed, and held a bouquet wrapped in plain paper. He was there for his son, Zayn, who was graduating with honors. Haroun worked 2 jobs after losing his wife to illness, raising his son with quiet determination and very little rest. As he watched the ceremony, his eyes kept drifting toward Elena, noticing how no one stood beside her, how she clapped softly for others while no one clapped for her return to her seat. Haroun understood that kind of loneliness. He had felt it late at night when bills piled up and hope felt thin. He had seen it in his son's eyes when school events came without a mother present. Something in him stirred, an instinct stronger than fear or hesitation. He watched as the ceremony ended and families flooded the aisles. Elena remained where she was, adjusting her gown, preparing to leave quietly unseen. That was when Haroun stood up. With steady steps, he walked down the aisle, ignoring the curious looks around him. He stopped in front of Elena, lowered himself slightly so they were eye level, and gently placed the bouquet in her lap. The flowers were simple, fresh, and bright against the dark fabric of her gown. Haroun did not speak, but his expression carried everything words could not: respect, pride, recognition. He placed his hand over his heart, nodded once, and stood beside her as the crowd slowly noticed. Something changed in the air. A few people began clapping, then more, until the sound grew fuller, warmer, real. Elena's eyes widened, her breath catching as emotion flooded her chest. For the first time that day, she felt seen not as a burden or a symbol, but as a graduate who mattered. From the balcony above, Victor Crossfield had just arrived, having rushed in late. He froze when he saw the scene below. His daughter, surrounded by applause, a stranger standing beside her where he should have been. The realization struck harder than any business failure ever had. In that moment, he understood what his success had cost. Later that day, Victor would approach Haroun, not as a CEO, but as a humbled father. He would thank him, not with money, but with gratitude. And in the months that followed, Victor would change, choosing presence over power, while Haroun's quiet act of kindness would open doors he never sought. including a new role within Victor's foundation dedicated to supporting families with disabilities. But what mattered most happened in that hall, in the daylight, when one ordinary man chose compassion over comfort. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment right now to like, share, and subscribe to Life Spark Stories, and help spread stories that remind us what humanity looks like. Special request: please comment below and share what this moment meant to you.